what it takes is to let them talk and get to work. And so this is what we're about in terms of our work in the business community of the Muslim American community. We've been inspired today by what you shared. We've been inspired by your work for a very long time. You're from Atlanta as well. And you know what we've been doing with our school in particular, as we've talked about exchange programs with Papa Cham, bringing our students to you all schools here and allowing for cultural exchange. We have with us students to witness the type of business engagement that we're talking about in West Africa. But this has been organized by a great effort by Ambassador Waleed Shamsuddin, an entrepreneur in Atlanta, who has been brought on to the team of the president of Sierra Leone, the special envoy, and as an ambassador. But his work is to make sure that we understand that coming home to Africa is an easy thing. It requires a lot of work and commitment. But the love and the connection between our communities starts with a journey, starts with a step. And so we went to Gore. We saw the door of no return. We made our declaration that it will be the door of our return. And so we're coming here to Dakar, to Senegal, to build bridges, to build businesses, to build cultural relationships, and to establish the brotherhood as well, because we are a first generation, a second generation, and a third generation in this room of Muslim Americans. And so even our faith is something that is strong and it brings us together. I want to ask Ambassador Waleed just to share a few words and thank yous.
Guys, can y'all keep that door closed? Just make sure everybody's in, so it's not keep opening up and down.
Is there any more delegates out there?
Is there anybody who don't recognize?
All right.
You got everybody in?
Just close it shut.
Yeah, just close the shut, Baz. I'm going to open up the one. Thanks.
Just on behalf of the group, Ambassador Waleed Shamsuddin, just share our thank yous and then also some folks.
Yes. Just first of all, I wanted to thank you, Akon and Papa Cham, for extending an invitation for us to be on here. You are shining light in the music industry out of Atlanta, where I'm from, and we see your vision. And we want to encourage more athletes, entertainers, those high net worth individuals, and those who share like minds to do what the example is here. Come back home, invest, encourage. Akon made a comment that stuck with me. He said, when people say they're going on vacation and come to Africa, they say, be careful. But when you want to go to the Caribbean or the Middle East, have a good time. We have to change that narrative. So though I'm an ambassador today, the 41 delegates we have with us can be brand ambassadors as well for the experience that they had here in Dakar, flying Air Senegal, staying at the Radisson Blue, experiencing what we've experienced in the last 5 or 6 days. So Papa Cham, thank you. He's hosted multiple delegations with Imam Mansour and myself over the last 4 or 5 years. We're excited about the vision of Akon City and other projects that you are doing on the continent. We're available to support. We want to build bridges, encourage those in the diaspora to connect, welcome them back home, and then work together. The relationship is reciprocal. We're not arrogant Americans coming back to tell Africans what to do. There are things we can learn from you all and things you all can share to teach us so that we can build a reciprocal relationship. I want to thank the delegations. We're across multiple industries, technology, real estate, construction, development, cyberspace, and academic. It's led by our brother David Hassan with NMDC. Several thousand businesses throughout the United States are part of his organization. 16 years of doing business conferences on the continent. And our dear sister Aisha Mustafa is the editor of the Muslim Journal, over 60 years now. 60 years?
Not me, but the journal.
And it's still in circulation today. So thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for hosting us, the gracious meal. Thank my fellow Sierra Leoneans who came in. Philston and Nancy for joining us as well, Brother Philston. We really appreciate this and we look forward to building together. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I gotta say that it was a pleasant surprise to see all y'all. And to get the memo that we have almost 45 Americans that's in town that want to come to the inauguration. It felt amazing. My pops called me, was like, Con, listen, you know, these guys are here, they had nothing, you know, it wasn't a part of the thing. Do you have room for them? And I was like, of course. You know, my biggest challenge and always been my fight was to try to get as many African Americans back home as possible. You know, from all my peers to music industry execs to athletes, actors, you name it. You know, I've been trying. You know? But what's amazing is that when they start to see my success that has nothing to do with the music side of what they know me for, that's when they start to ask the questions. What are you doing? And then when I tell them what I'm doing, it's interesting that what I'm doing and what it's giving is what's motivating.
Right.
But I'm cool with that.
Right.
Because guess what? At the end of the day, in the States, that's what everybody's fighting for. You know, they fight to be successful, they fight to feed their families, they fight to be in a position of power, they fight to be in a position where they can actually really maximize whatever that gift is that they're exposing to everybody. But unfortunately, back home, the system just don't play fair with us.
No, it doesn't.
Sure.
You know, and it's like, at what point do we say all the rights that we're fighting for in America, all the prejudice and bigotry that we fight against our people in America, how many protests do we have to, you know, engage in? How many miles do we have to walk barefooted before we realize this ain't our goddamn country? You can do what you want, as many times you want, complain as long as you want. Ain't nothing changing.
Right.
America was never built for you.
Right. Wow.
It just wasn't.
Absolutely.
Right. So at the end of the day, it's like, okay, let's just go back home. Everything that we're fighting for back in America is
It's right
available
here.
to you right here. And the crazy part about it is that the whole world is moving to Africa. Because now they realize the power of what Africa has to provide for the rest of the world. And they also understanding the value that Africa has for the stability of the rest of the world. So everybody actually, it's really a matter of who comes home first who's going to really benefit.
Sure.
When you look at families like the Rockefeller family and all these guys, they got in early. Chase, I mean, they all got in early.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Johnson & Johnson, these guys all got in early.
Gamble.
I mean, we can go on and on. When they talk about family offices and family wealth, these are the families that engaged in industrial situation before the development started.
For sure.
You all have the opportunity to create that for your family in Africa.
Right.
That's what me and my father is doing.
Alhamdulillah.
My father came to the United States with the hopes of making it. He did amazing for himself because we wasn't struggling at all. And if we was, Father made sure that we didn't feel it.
That's right.
I know now, at that time, we was going through some turbulence because certain areas that I know of today just ain't areas that I would live in. But my pop was so well respected in those areas, I felt at home. But the amazing part about it is that we always lived in the suburbs. But somehow, I would always find myself back in the ghetto. And my mom's like, what's wrong with you? Why are you always in the hood? Because I was raised in Africa. And I was so surrounded by friends, family, and a certain environment that when I came to America, the hood was the closest to that environment that I could find. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
A
it
lot
was
of
fun.
sense.
You know, I could play hide
Okay.
and go seek. You know, you can chase the girls. You know, stuff that you can do in the neighborhood. Whereas in the suburbs, you got to be quiet. There's noise ordinances.
Stay in the
If you say too much,
house.
they call the cops. So you couldn't get the freedom that I got in the hood. But what comes with that, obviously, is a surroundment that you just might not want to be attached to, hanging with people that you shouldn't be attached to, because they're all attached to struggle, so they're going to do things to survive. When I don't necessarily have to do anything to survive, because my dad made sure we were all good. But now I'm trying to fit in with that crowd. But I felt like I went through that whole process to get me back here, because it gave me even a better understanding of what that struggle was in America. So it's easy to translate that situation to Africans here. And there was this big, you could say, misconception that Africans didn't like African Americans.
Yes.
A huge
Definitely.
misconception.
Definitely.
Not knowing that here you get the red carpet rolled out.
All day.
I was in the music industry from in 1993, I was working with the Fugees. That's how I started.
Oh, alhamdulillah.
Right, that's in Jersey. That's how I started with them. And my career ended up all the way up until, well, I would say my peak in 2008. But from the time when I was in music from 2000 from 1993 to 2008, I might have accomplished more for my financial stability in the 2 years from 2008 to 2010 that I spent in Africa. So basically what I'm saying is, the 2 years I spent in Africa made me more money in 2 years in Africa than I made in 15 years in America. That's the opportunity. Anything that you can imagine that you always wanted to do, you can actually do it in America. They'll tell you in America you can do it. It sounds great. Oh yeah, land of the free. It sounds amazing. But try and do it. See how easy it is. Please try. I'm begging you.
Prove me wrong.
Think about it, right? Now, I knew nothing about energy before 2008. Absolutely nothing about energy, solar, anything in the energy sector. When I came to Africa, it opened up a door for me because I saw that there was a need for electricity in a lot of areas, especially rural areas. So I decided to get into the energy business. When we were successful in Africa, then I was able to utilize that success to do, energy in America. But what I realized, engaging into the energy business in Africa versus the energy business in America, there's not one African American group that's in energy in America. Wow. Because they are all controlled by the good old boys in Texas. So that was at the time when they were dealing with oil and gas. In Africa, it was impossible to do oil and gas because all the people that took over and we was, that we was pretty much colonized by had all the contracts from the Total to the Exxon, to the BP, to the Shell. They locked those contracts down for 30, 40, 50 years. So oil and gas was out of the question. So solar was the only, pretty much opportunity for me. But when I got to the US, because we were the only African Americans doing energy, we were able to grow faster than even the good old boys in solar. Why? Because at that time, solar wasn't something they was interested in. Like, oh, y'all can have that. And then when Trump came into office, it made it even better because he tried to bring back coal. Taking America back 30 years. But pushing us forward 30 years. So it gave us even more pull. It gave us even more opportunity to expand our business to where we became the biggest African American energy provider in America. Just utilizing the fact that we were black. Because there's a lot of incentives that come with being a minority in America that most of us never take advantage of. So when you go to the local hood and you see a Chinese boutique or a Korean, hair supply store, in an Indian gas station, all these are incentives that the American government gives them to start their businesses that they take advantage of. But unfortunately, we had so many discrepancies with the government and the laws. The opportunity could be there, but she's like, nah, I got a warrant. I ain't going up in there. So we'll lose the opportunity just by being black because we're afraid to ask the question, or we're afraid to go in there and inquire, or we're more worried that opportunity is too good to be true and it's going to affect us more than it affects, the situation. So we all, I think the only thing that we as a people have to do is only two things, and I think the moment we accomplish that, we'll be fine. One, we have to overcome our fear. We're accountants. I hate to say it, but we're accountants. We are. The problem with black people, it's a gift and it's a curse. We're filled with so much love and forgiveness. That love and forgiveness destroys us. Because we always say, oh, don't worry about it, God's going to take care of it.
Gotta be a
And
balance
He will.
to it.
But God doesn't take care of it. He assists you as you take care of it. You follow me? If I don't move this forward, it ain't going to move by itself. I can look at it until I take my hand and go like this. It's not going nowhere. So sitting home and praying ain't going to help me. But going out to work and praying for that work to manifest into something successful, you got a way better chance.
Allahu Akbar.
You understand what I'm saying? But it's not going to happen unless we're doing it together, though.
That's right.
Because we're too competitive. That's one of the biggest flaws we have. The first is that we're too afraid to try something new.
Yes, we are.
We're so used to what we're used to that we feel that if we go into something different, that we're going to fail. Why are we afraid? Why are we afraid of failure? Who do you know in life that never failed? As if failure ain't a part of life. Failure doesn't exist in my world. If I do something and it doesn't happen the way I anticipated it, that don't mean I failed. That just means that I didn't gather enough information to accomplish that. It's all about finding information and like gathering what and tools that you need to succeed on what it is you're trying to pull off. Because if you don't have it, then guess what happens? It's not going to happen. That don't mean you failed. That just means you failed to either prepare or you failed to gather all the information you needed to succeed. And oftentimes we got our ego, our pride. I'm not going to ask you questions that I know I need to ask you because I don't want to feel like I'm dumb. I don't want you to think by any means that I'm rude or ignorant or unintelligent. We were all born without no information. Everything that we're doing now is because we were taught to do it. Whatever you're taught to believe as you grow older, that's what you're going to believe when you get older. Even if it's wrong. I can't blame you or blame any African American in America for the way they think because this is how they were taught to believe. But in the Quran it tells you, seek knowledge. If I tell you something, feel free to contradict me, but just show me the proof. So you mean to tell me everybody in America gonna get taught one way, by the opposition, by the way, who y'all know that is, and you gonna believe everything they tell you and never come home to find out if it's true or wrong. So the first step that y'all did that warmed my heart and made me feel so like helpful to know that the future is actually opening up is first coming to Africa. Because I promise you, and I know that y'all feeling it now, that half the things that y'all was taught or thought you was going to experience or whatever in your mind you thought Africa was to be, is probably totally something totally different.
Yeah, definitely.
But the beauty of it, and what I want y'all to take out is the fact that it don't matter what you decide you want to do, this door is open. You can literally, I don't care how big you think the idea is or how far you think that ambition is, it can be accomplished in Africa. And it can be done without that much pressure, that much pushback, but yet you're gonna get all the support.
For sure.
And it won't take that much money. It really doesn't. Banks will loan you guys money without even thinking about it. You're American. You're in Africa. What bank is not gonna loan you money to open up a business?
Right.
Babs, you keep touching. Now, by the way, he know put him on the spot every time because he's African, but he was raised in Germany. So he's a German African. And he don't like German. And he don't like black people. Whenever you see I'm trying to educate my black people, you trying to pull me out.
And the answer for you might be in this room. An answer you may have might be in the room.
What could be more important than this?
Listen.
But no, I know you're trying to pull me because we're about to do it. But for
Gotcha.
the most part, take full advantage of being here. I promise you, you will not regret it. You will not regret it. I promise you, you're not going to regret it. And just jump out the window. You're good here.
Grow your wings on the way down.
I promise you, there's one thing about Africa. Right now, all y'all can be dead hungry. Go to the next door neighbor. I promise you, they're gonna feed you.
Definitely.
Allahu
Akbar.
Half the worries you're worried about, the stigma. Yo, what up? Yo, what up? New York, you say what's up to somebody? What up, nigga? What? I'm saying hello, my brother. How you doing? I'm just saying.
Just want to make sure.
But that's not gonna happen here. Because they want y'all to be here. The diaspora is the dream come true for Africans.
Yes.
Because you guys have the knowledge, you got the resources, you got the experience. All we have here is the land, the resources, and the people. The population is here. But we need the education from the diaspora. The concepts, the ideas, the financing. You know, we need that mindset from there. That combination, when we come together, is unbeatable. You know, so welcome. Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
One thing about it, starting tomorrow at 10 o'clock, we'll open the office up. The NMBC office, the National Muslim Business Council from USA, is open the office tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And getting ready to be able to do business right away. In Senegal.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah,